Welcome to Sinners. Now, this movie was fantastic. I did a short review of this on Tuesday. I figured I needed to go a little more in depth because there's a lot of depth here in this movie beyond the basic white people are vampire song that you're gonna hear in the mainstream press. Now, let me know what you think down in the comments below, and let's get to it right away. Sinners, the story of two twins, Smoke and Stack, coming back to their home on the Mississippi Delta. They've been gone away for years. They went to World War One. They went to Chicago, worked with Capone. They brought back a bunch of money to start up their own juke joint down on the Delta. Now, for those that don't know, a juke joint is basically just a club from the 30s, music, dancing, that kind of thing. Kind of word that doesn't isn't used anymore, but very a colloquial term from the deep south. Now Smoke comes back. He talks to a bunch of people. He finds Sammy, the preacher boy, who gets up early, picks his cotton during the day, and then goes out and plays wants to play his soulful music with or at a club. And he meets Smoke and Stack, and they're gonna bring him on to play music at their new joint. They go around collecting people. They find Delta Slim, played by the great Delroy Lindo. They bring in Cornbread, who's also picking cotton, played by Omar Miller, and he's a bouncer. He's gonna watch the club, and then we get Annie, who makes the food, makes the catfish, and is a spiritual liaison, also Smoke's wife as well, and bring them all back to the club, and they're gonna have a rockin' good time. Now, Smoke and Stack buy this club from a local businessman, and you can tell very clearly this guy does not like black people. Probably is a KKK member. Now, this movie is gonna be full of spoilers before I get any further. So if you do not want this movie spoiled for you, just go out and see it. Support this movie. We need to support original content like this because we're stuck with sequels over and over. Let's promote good stuff. This movie is absolutely fantastic, oozing an atmosphere and transports you back to a time that is a bygone era, a part of life that just doesn't exist anymore unless you were raised on the Mississippi Delta. Now, again, they're all going to the club. Smoke reunites with his wife Annie, and they lost a baby, and that's mainly one of the reasons why he left with his brother, just to get away from it all. Because after something like that, it's hard to come back. We meet Mary, who played by Haley Steinfeld, who's also really good in this movie. She was Stack's lover, and she slaps the fuck out of Stack. It's kind of great to see, and she's come back. Her mama died, and she's gonna be part of the festivities at night. Now, everybody's brought to the club, juke joint, as it were, and we cut to this farmhouse further on the Delta. Now, I want to point this out that, again, these are not slaves, these are sharecroppers. It was a very prominent lifestyle. Unfortunately, a lot of people, especially black Americans down in the South, they picked cotton, they had a small little shack that they lived on, they got paid a minor pittance for it on a daily basis, but they had quotas to fill. So technically, they're not slaves, but let's be honest, sharecroppers are an elevated form of feudalism. Let's in serfs. Let's be honest. Um, they still don't really have the luxury to go move to the north and do what they want to do. They're just kind of stuck down in the south, where they were enslaved for over 100 years. Well, only 6% of the white population that actually owned slaves, but we don't want to get drunk into those details. Just sharecroppers was a lifestyle that many people use down in the South, and we've moved past that into a better America, I suppose, depending on your point of view. But we cut to this farmhouse on a cotton field, and there's this guy covered in blood, and he's very polite. He asks this couple is like, "Hey, can I come in? What will you please let me in? I'm being chased. Please would you be so kind as to let me in?" And of course, they be God fearing Christians, I guess you would say, although let's be honest, kind of spotty in that they let him in. Now, it's getting darker, and the woman of the house opens the door, and there's a posse. Now they're saying, "Oh, we're looking for a very dangerous man." Now it's important to point out that the guy that came to the house was just covered in blood. Like he obviously been running from his pursuers. He had I should point out this gentleman, this Irish chap, Scottish chap actually, covered in blood. His name is Remick. Now, this posse that comes from the house, and he's a very dangerous man, and they're they're Cherokee. They're hunting for him. Obviously, they're God fearing in a way because they speak in Cherokee talk. Again, I don't know Cherokee, and saying like he's a very dangerous man. Do not let him in. Now, unfortunately, this woman goes to the back of the house. It's very dark, and boy, her husband is dead. He's having the blood, life literally sucked out of him. Yes, this movie is a vampire tale. Although the reason why this movie works initially is because we don't know that. We don't know about vampires until nearly halfway through the movie, and the Remick gets up after like or just gutting her husband, and her husband slowly comes back to life. He has dark red glowing eyes, and he already says like, "I'm gonna get you," basically, more or less, and he sucks her blood as well. Now we come back to the juke joint. It's fun. It's raucous. Sammy Boy is playing his guitar, and it's really good. He's almost like a Robert Johnson figure. Let's be honest. He kind of looks like Robert Johnson. His playing is very similar to a Robert Johnson, and everybody's just having a rockin' time. Then we get to Remick and the two people that are along with him. Now, they both new people have glowing eyes too with him, and they basically said like, "Come on, let us in. This is a fun place. We can all enjoy this together." And Smoke is like, "No, you're not coming in," because again, this juke joint very black oriented, or there's like barely any white people at all. There's a couple Asian keepers, Yao and Hugh, I believe her name was, and they basically say, "You get out here." Now these people come in like, "Let's all be friends, Alleluia, Kumbaya," and they're just singing along. They're actually pretty good, but Smoke and Zach basically tell them to get the hell out. Now, Mary, played by Haley Steinfeld, is like, "Let's let him in. Let's let him in." Now, again, like with the couple on the farm, they're also very like, oh, all nice and thoughtful and kind. It's like, just let us in. Let's come in and all enjoy together. Mary goes out to talk with them. Now, she makes a very bad mistake because they start playing and she starts to get the heebie jeebies, and then she tries to run, and lo and behold, she becomes another victim of the vampires. Um, then we have Cornbread, played by Omar Miller, of course. He has to, take a piss. And he's like gone for a long time, and he too becomes a victim of the vampires. Now, Mary comes back later, and she's like all with it with Stack because they were lovers for a time, and he unfortunately lets him in. Now they, have sex in the back room, and lo and behold, what happens? They come by, they hear thumping in the room, and Mary's just like gutting him again, like just sucking his neck dry. And Smoke is just like, oh my god, my brother's dead. And the whole time, it's just like, they try and shoot her. They shoot her dead several times, but she just gets up, runs off, runs back out of the juke joint, and everything is done. The whole night is ruined. Should mention a little bit. Delroy Lindo as Mississippi Slim is great. He's got a great voice. He's a great piano player, and he's um, he's like has to be like the bouncer for a change because Cornbread is gone for so long, but then Cornbread comes back and it's like, come on, let me in, and Smoke, leave it with Smoke, puts out his hand, to like push Cornbread away, and Cornbread like, just like he gets shot in the face, and basically Smoke. Then basically after that, it's just Smoke. Well, we have Stack who's just locked in the room, and Mary, not Mary, um, Annie, Smoke's wife, is the spiritual advocate, knowing that these are vampires. They are dead. They are evil creatures. They must not be let back in, and they lock them up in the room. And they're everybody is sent home, and that's a bad thing. And Annie, if I remember right, Annie said, "Don't go home. Like everybody should stay here." But people go off, and then lo and behold, about 10, 15 minutes later, there's a whole crowd of vampires. There's a whole crowd of vampires. You have inside Mississippi Slim, you have Smoke, you have Annie, you have Yao, and you have his wife, and a couple, people as well. Then the vampires come back. They attack. They go through. People are torn down. You have uh, Yao, who later gets or goes out to warm up the car and comes back a vampire and saying like, "Come on with me. The car's ready. We're ready to go home." And right in the attack, she kills her husband. Literally takes a stake and just sticks it through her and him. They burn alive. There's a fire in the juke joint, and all the vampires are attacking. Sammy Boy is just messed with a lot by Remick. He's um, I didn't mention this before. Sammy Boy is the son of a preacher, and his father is like, you know, don't be with these ways. Be a lordly religious follower because his father's a preacher and he's expecting him after the party at night to be back for morning service. And Remick just f's with him. And but that's the thing about evil is that I know the message that Ryan Coogler was trying to impose, or surface level message that was trying to be imposed, was that white people are vampires. They should destroy everything. But the big thing that I got out of this movie is that evil is everywhere. That evil preaches kindness. Like, let's all be together in evil. Let's, congregate in evil. Evil preaches kindness. Let's all be kind to one another. Because everybody in hell is equal. Everybody in hell is dead. Everybody is, the same in hell. It doesn't matter what you did in life. Once you're in hell, you're equal, just like everybody else. So when people preach equality, it's like equality is a good thing to a point. But in this instance, with Remick basically saying like, let's all be equal together. Let's all party together equally. Let's all be nice to each other equally. In the end, people are picked off left and right. Sadly, Annie gets taken away, but Smoke does a good thing and stakes through her heart. And then at the end, we just have Smoke and Sammy. They are outside fighting the vampires, just waiting for the sun to rise again and burn the vampires away. And the thing is, Sammy is almost taken. Like, Ramek takes out his nails, get like long Nosferatu, like, and he just scratches across his face. And the thing is, people start burning alive when the sun comes up, and then Sammy does the deed. He does the deed, and he stabs Rebecca right in the heart. But that's not enough. But then the sun comes, and there's just this pillar of fire that comes from the sky and just burns Remick to a crisp. All the other vampires just burning alive, burning alive. Um, I didn't mention that Stack came back and he's a vampire, but the thing is, Smoke was going to kill Stack, but he allowed Stack and Mary to leave, so there's still vampires left. Even though it's very different than the traditional vampire story where the creator that makes you become a vampire, once the creator dies, everybody else dies with it. But in this instance, evil is eternal. Once an evil thing is created, it must be destroyed along with everything else. So Stack is still alive, Mary is still alive, Remick is just destroyed in this awesome scene of fire just burning with a pillar of flame, just burning him, damning him to hell, and it's just awesome. But then we get to the next day. It's just Smoke, it's just Sammy. Sammy, broke his dad's guitar trying to stay and fight off the vampires. Smoke tells him to run off and go away. Now, there was information that the vampires imparted on him that uh, the white man that sold them the juke joint was a grand dragon of the KKK. He was gonna ring up a bunch of members of the KKK, and they were gonna murder them all the next day. Now, these KKK members come up to the barn, and they find out it's locked. They have no idea what happened the night before. Like I said, Sammy drives off and he goes to his father's church, and there's kind of a harrowing scene where it's church service, or Sammy comes back, and his father says to put down the guitar, son, and worship, worship. Then Sammy walks off, guitar in hand. But before we get to what happens to Sammy, we have Smoke taking out his footlocker with all his weapons from World War One, and as the KK members go up to the uh, juke joint, Smoke is out in the grass. He has a rifle, an automatic rifle with a sniper scope on, and he starts picking people off left and right. It's pretty cool. He brings out the I can't remember what yeah, he brings out a Tommy gun and he's blowing people away. Just it's great to see the head, the Grand Dragon of the KKK get shot like right in the liver and shot again, and he's just there on the ground dying while everybody else is just falling around. Smoke does get shot, and very slowly he's able to kill off all the KKK members. Some people try and drive away, and Smoke just pulls the pin with his mouth from a grenade, throws it inside the truck, and blows it up to Kingdom Come. Evil is dead, and then we get to him looking over the Grand Dragon of the KKK, takes his PR, just blows him away. But sadly, Smoke dies. But we see a nice scene with Annie's wife in heaven with their dead child. She's nursing, and and then he holds his soon to be angelic son, And even though Smoke has, you know, done bad things, we don't know what bad things he's done, but assumingly he's done bad things, he's been redeemed. He's been redeemed. So he gets to be with his wife and child in the afterlife. It's a really nice scene, really fitting way for it to end. And then we get to Sammy. Now, Sammy, we come back to like 60 to 70 years later. Sammy is like a world famous blues musician. Like, he's really good. He, again, like I said, I mentioned Robert Johnson before. He looks and sounds like Robert Johnson, and he has the claw marks on his face still. And at the end of the show tonight, guess who walks in? Stack with Mary. Now, of course, they're both still vampires because it is revealed. I kind of reviewed this early, but it was revealed that Smoke let them go, and this is an end credit sequence. So when you see the credits, make sure you stay. There's still more stuff to watch after, and he just says like, I promised Smoke that I was not going to kill you, and he doesn't. Although it is kind of menacing with Stack. They have like a drink. Smoke or Stack and Mary leave, and Sammy's just like, gracious that he's still alive, but he knows his time is coming to an end. And then we cut to black. The lights go on in the theater. Applause. There's applause in my theater. I was applauding too because this movie is fantastic. The music, the feel, the vibe, the vampires, the themes, especially the theme of evil. Like, it's more important than just the white people are vampires. And like, come on, it goes a lot deeper in a way that Ryan Coogler probably didn't intend. Because evil always preaches equality. Evil always wants you to be equal, like everybody that's evil. Because in the end, those that are in hell are all equal together, always trying to bring you into it. You have to be vigilant. You have to be watchful. You have to be always watching for evil. And this movie did not mention it. Mentions are certain people that can just cut through the fabric of time and bring evil with it. And because Sammy was engaged in, you know, drinking, philandering, and then that kind of thing, like he has sex with a married woman, like he's engaged is evil things, and as a result, evil loves company. Evil things or enter around other evil acts. So Sammy, of course, survives and moves on. But at the same time, when he's an old man, you get the feeling that like he's not redeemed. I got the distinct feeling that once he died, he would not go to heaven like Smoke did with his wife. I get the feeling that Sammy is going to end up in hell just like everybody else. I could be wrong. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. But this movie is a hell of a time. If Michael B. Jordan doesn't or isn't at least nominated for Best Actor, I don't know. I'm sure Sinners will be nominated for Best Picture. I'm sure Michael B. Jordan will be nominated for Best Actor. I'm sure Haley Steinfeld might get a Best Supporting Actress nomination. I'm sure Miles Caton, who plays Sammy, will definitely receive a Best Supporting Actor because this is his first performance. Like, his first performance as Sammy is absolutely fantastic, and the whole movie, the whole vibe, the cinematography, the music, the shots, the the fire pillar at the end. This movie is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to watch this movie again. It is so good. I know I didn't put any clips or anything on it, but I will put some pictures in the thumbnail just to show you how great this movie is, how great it looks. It is just a masterpiece. I love this movie. Best movie I've seen all year, and right now my pick for Best Picture. I hope it wins it. I hope at the very least it gets nominated for it, which I'm sure it will. It's doing well in the box office right now. Go support it. If you like my short, you'll probably like this even more. But please, if you haven't seen it, watch the short. I don't spoil a lot. I, I purposely leave the more important things for this video because I think they're really important to talk to, and it goes far beyond the surface level critiques that you'll find in most other reviews on YouTube. I, I promise you're gonna find more depth in this video than you will like a Chris Stuckman or somebody like that. That's totally gonna miss the point. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Otherwise, have a great day, and as always, be vigilant because the devil is always looking to devour. Have a great day, and God bless.